we will ask the speakers, the panelists, to talk for roughly 10-12 minutes on the topic to set the stage, and then we will open the discussion for the audience. So I would like to request Pallab Bhattacharya to start off if your presentation is ready.
Yeah, I was just chatting. So thank you very much, Ticker, to start with for calling me in. So I was actually talking to Arindam. I was writing a white paper, and right in the middle of all this call happened. So I thought, why not data science in finance? And it's very apt. I come from financial services world. It's close to 2 decades I've spent, and though I'm working on a not so popular side of financial services, make a guess. I'm not with retail. I'm the boarding side of financial services, which is wholesale. And of course, the retail side of the financial services is already disrupted. Is going to disrupt. We are going to be a 5 trillion economy in 2025. And we are talking 1.2 billion, 1.3 billion, and so on and so forth in terms of number of people, right? And they're transacting in the financial services world. What I would anyway, in fact, I should start the conversation with a little bit of background of the audience, so that because it matters the most that if we have made an impact in a small little way to you people, right? We shouldn't just discuss because we have to discuss something. So may I ask a question to the room here? How many of you are from financial services? So that I don't bore you, right? Okay, all right. So, and from wholesale? Corporate? Okay. So I will try and put my examples on the retail side while we walk you through. The idea is, in fact, when the call came in, because it's data science in finance, right? We can just pick up any stuff we want to talk about and spend the day, right? So what I thought, we should start very small, and if I'm given a chance, I should take this room full of people, financial services colleague and non-financial services colleague, through a very repetitive journey. So it's a journey of a high-speed, disruptive data science in your company. Yeah, we are not talking general examples. We are not talking big data happening in front of you. No, we're talking big data through you, through your function, in your company, in your day-to-day work. So that's a part of my job that I do every day. So I've tried to kind of decipher how do we create a hyper-productive data science function. Yeah, I'm sure that would interest a lot of us. Instead of talking about it, why can't I be a part of it? And not only make money, but contribute back to the society, right? So I would like to start with a very interesting subject matter before I get to the use case part of it, is the paradox that exists in majority of the financial services companies. NBFCs, investment banks, global, local. And I'm sure many of you, even if I hail from that world, even if it's a non-financial services world, many of you have either be on the buy side of a data science product or service, or on the sales side. Am I right? Can I just say that? Either you've gone to a provider to buy a service, or you have been producing those services. If neither of that is true, you're not here. You shouldn't be here. So I'm sure all of us are. So in that case, what is the biggest paradox that exists to make a data science function meaningful and high performance? The biggest thing that comes to my mind is the skill set. Yeah. What are the core skills do we need, and what skills we have in India? What skills are easily available, and when you are actually building the function, and I'm sure Ujjyaini will talk a lot more as head analytics for Viacom. So as the head analytics comes to the stage and to the table, he or she starts building a team, right? This problem is not going to be solved alone. It's a teamwork to make a data science function work. So what is it? So what's happening right now? I don't know if I can, may I stand there and operate? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, quickly, I will just walk you through something very interesting, a very stupid, a very quick stupid diagram. Yeah. Now, this is what I made last night. This is what I see happening in front of us every single day, and this has nothing to do with financial services, I'm sure. This is, to me, a very little pyramid of skills, complexities, and demand, all put together. Yeah, if a data science has to survive. Yeah, and all of us here would be very close to me, I'm sure, but not necessarily the definition I'm putting in may not be in agreement, and that is exactly what the purpose of the debate today. So, right at the top, what you see, I call them dreamers, dreaming. Yeah, just four verbs I've used, and this is what it is. Data scientists are not gods. Today, you see your JDs. I'm sure all of us either recruiting data scientists or talking to one. How does the JD look like? Anybody? In fact, I have been interviewing a lot outside India, so this is a secret my company should know, on data science, and the JDs are completely nonsense. Yeah, just absolutely nonsense. Why is that? Because we are expecting the data scientists to know everything. Yeah, and in fact, we have a lot of dignitaries here, professors here, right? You know what the students learn in those institutes, even if they are full-time masters. I have my ISI colleague here. So even in ISIs, right, the top notch of statistics in India, right, there is something that we get to know and something we don't. What exactly we're looking at infrastructure, we're looking at programming, we're looking at modeling. Oh, you know what? You have to also know domain. You're not going to get them. It's not possible, right? So my first word of advice, after having spent almost 20 years in the financial services world, that you are building a fake organization, it's a fake dream, break it, and start by being on the ground. First thing you should look at, get these 4 skills intact in the company, and the data science will fire. And you don't want your CEO talking to you and saying, you know what, I have an idea. Put some money in, get a Hadoop database in, and start. That's absolute crazy wrong start of a data science function. Yeah? You should look at people who are creative, dreamers, and domain experts. Sits on the top, and those arrows are actually guiding us, they're guiding principles. The highest demand of skill, I'm sure that's the size of the pyramid, is right at the bottom, right? So dreamers dream, ask questions, talk about hypotheses. And they start sentences like, I wish I could do this with data. That's it. They're not supposed to be data scientists. Pay them heavy, and they will reap results for your company. Because they understand the business the most. And also one thing they understand what those data are. Right? How many of you, in fact, example, I was talking to a data partner in India. I'll get there in a few minutes from now, what's happening in the data ecosystem. Just by knowing your number, yeah? All of us, by the way, all of us, we know what is background verification, BGV, in a corporate setup. All of us go through it. We hire employees. We are employees, yeah? So BGVs are painful, right? I was talking to a partner. He said, it's not. Get me your number in front of me without taking my permission, because I was in a demo room with him in his office. He took the liberty. Oh, by the way, he didn't ask my phone number. He had it on his mobile phone. He looked at his mobile phone. I didn't know what he was doing, and told me in 2 seconds how many companies I have worked with till date, how many years, when did I leave them, what the dates were. Why and how? Any guesses? Just a phone number he took. Make a guess. He's not doing anything illegal. Of course, he couldn't have done it. I'm the client. He did this by linking mobile number with UAN number. Your EPFO unique identifier. Right? Unique PF number, and then he used that number to search the EPFO database using an API, authenticated API, and that's it. And BGV is done. That's what HR does, right? And they put hundreds of people, crores, to check whether you are a genuine person to onboard. Anyway, it's not going there. So that's what is happening on the data ecosystem, and that is exactly what sits at the top, right? If you have people on your system who knows where the data is and how the ecosystem is changing, you do not need statisticians to get those APIs into your company. You don't. Yeah, majority of the data science today is API. And in fact, I appreciate the way the day is kind of unfolding, is kind of stacking up well to my little 10 minutes. It is that because it is so much commoditized, you don't need high-end stats to actually tell you, how the person is. I'm talking about screening an employee. Yeah. So first is dreaming quickly. Then comes modeling. When the dreamer is done dreaming, he now needs help. This person, these people, converts a business problem or an industry problem or a society problem into a statistical stroke mathematical problem. That's it. The first guy didn't know mathematics, yeah? I said that. Modeling. All kinds of algo and neural nets to SVM doesn't matter, sits there. You don't need to know, right? And he's good just by knowing that. It's all right. Then comes programmers. And as you go down, the volume goes up. You need more programmers than modelers, and you need very little dreamers than modelers. Yeah? Programmers, Python, R, Scala, doesn't matter. Yeah? They will convert and digitize that mathematical problem into a piece of code, right? You need to do that. A statistician may not be able to do that. Last but not the least, housing. And SkyMed, thank you so much for setting the platform up. Because the amount of commoditizing that happened on the infrastructure and hardware is incredible. Right? What wasn't possible, I don't have to go there, is possible today. Now, those infrastructure engineers will make sure that happens. Cloud to server, to rack space, to real time and nanoseconds and stuff like that, like what Facebook does for us. All that, we don't even know when you search a Google search just now, he searched .com or a site name, it actually connects to 1,000 servers in 0.01 millisecond. Yeah? So all that is happening by getting done by those housing people. So now put this four together, you will see you are good with your data science function. The common misnomers or wrong strategies. This is my personal belief. I'm happy to stand corrected. The way we invest is exactly the opposite way of we should. Way we invest is CEO walks in and say, hey, let's build a Hadoop infrastructure. That's crazy. You need a dreamer first, so that you know what problem you're solving, and go the other way around. Number one, yeah? Number two, the pay goes up. Again, it's not right or good or bad. I'm just saying what's the current practice is. The pay goes up as you go up. Yeah? I have graduated from a college called Aegis. I have mastered in data science. While I was doing that, I was the oldest student. And all these newcomers and early birds coming into the data science world, figuring out they will land a job, high-paying job. They didn't. Majority of the people, when I look back, of course, I didn't choose a job from the campus. They did. And they found what? All of them, 90% of them, got placed as infrastructure engineers or a little bit of programming. Nobody hired them as modelers. Because when a dreamer talks to a modeler needs to understand a little bit of business, a lot of business, right? They didn't have a clue. They're fresh out of college. So this is what is happening in the industry, guys. Yeah. If we are informed, we can make the right decision and put the right step forward. So I'm just going to go quickly. That's my little couple of cents on what's happening on the skill set, the common mistakes we make. And I did start saying, how do I make a high productive, high performance, radical data science function? Few thoughts, yeah? In fact, I've named it a data science factory. What you need to do is prioritize product, do the product first. Yeah, take one product at a time. Make some knowledge gain, and that's a knowledge gain is my subject matter of the white paper. The knowledge gain is two ecosystem. You need to know two ecosystem if we want to succeed and continue to create data science ideas or analytics ideas or big data ideas, yeah? Because I have seen on the wholesale side, I say, for example, algo trading, right? Right? I don't have to talk about it. It's like 70% of trading today globally is algo. And algo is definitely falls under data science, comfortably. Yeah? It's high-end computing and modeling. But if that is the case, then everyone would have been doing algo trading and mastered it. No, very few companies in India have mastered it, yeah, with all the legal contours. So what I'm trying to tell you is, pick up a product, understand what is the ecosystem of two ecosystems. One is supply chain of your customer, supply chain platform of your customer, and this is fundamental thinking. I need the group to be with me for next 2 minutes. I'm going to try my best to kind of explain, is that if you do not understand your customer's supply chain platform, you would not succeed solving problem. Number one. Number two, the data economy. So platform economy and data economy. If you put the two together, a disruption will take place in your company. Let me give an example. Say I'm selling, I'm moving retail. Say you want to sell to me your fixed deposit. Just an FD, basic product that you can imagine in retail banking. What you need to do first? We should stop going to people and saying, hey, open an account and this is an FD, you get 6%. That's gone. Right? What you need to do is understand the supply chain of the customer, and that's exactly the last part of the session. This is the supply chain of the customer. There's a little table. Is that what do I do? How much do I earn? What priorities do I have? Whom do I talk to? Which restaurant do I go to? How much do I save? Are these simple variables? They are pretty much simple. Not easy to get, but it's possible to get. Then you pitch me the product. Yeah? Then see the effectiveness of that sales process. 10x. You will not say no if you came trained and ready when you are talking to me. That's number one. That's called supply chain of the company. Because every company needs to do what? All of us know. And this is agnostic to industry. And I can proudly say this. Is that all of us do is what? Input, process, output. We take a set of input from industry, add my personal value, my team value on it, and I start looking for buyers who would buy my output. In that process, if I know this chain of the customer really well, you are not going to fail in your data science use case. And all of it, how do I get to my savings habit? How do I get to my savings habit? Can you know my savings habit? What data can you capture? You do. There are a lot of apps. There are plenty of apps on Android we have been downloading on our mobile, and they know how much do you save by reading your SMSs. How much cash do you handle by reading your SMSs, they know. So all you need to know is open up and see what the data economy goes. So I'm moving on now to the second layer, and that's on the left. What are the players on data economy? And on the right, what are your supply chain of the customer? If you join the two, your data science is right here. You'll never fail. Yeah? Yes. So quickly, I'll just speed up. That's the grid you need to kind of explore. And in fact, I'm planning to submit this to Arindam for sharing with a larger audience. I will make more intelligent addition to this. This is just a draft. I was about to do this for HDFC as a bank on the lending side. So once you put all this together, you will then see that it's not that data science will happen. I did one project, sir, last year, and after that, nothing happened. That's what I see. I see people make the biggest mistake. And in fact, I want to address Dr. Sam's comment, and I would be glad to do that. Dr. Sam made a big comment, and he said this 3 times, and we were a little on the scary side, is that nobody is willing to pay. This concept is actually trying to address to bring the price down. When you hit upon an idea of data science, do not go and start coding. Do not start hiring. Look around you. There are enough parties and partners around you who would give you the data for cheap. Yeah? And trust their knowledge. Do not start hiring modelers. Trust me, I have been exactly doing this in my little company. And in thousands INRs, I'm not even talking lakhs, I have been churning data science products and projects. Because I trust my partners. And that's what I meant by understanding your data economy first. If you're an NBFC, if you're lending, understand how many players are providing data, and then marry the two. Okay, thank you so much, and I wish all the best in your data science journey. Thank you.
So, Pallab has been with the industry for more than 18 years in data science, innovation, and project management, but he is also an instructor and practitioner of lateral thinking, which shows in his talk. So, I will move on to Rajib Ranjan Borah, CEO of iRage. So Rajiv has worked in high-frequency trading, and hopefully he will enlighten us on some data science points.
So thanks a lot, Arindam, for inviting me here. Yeah, hello. Yeah, so as the only non-Bengali in this group, I feel a little so you figure that out? In the minimal group. Okay. So.
You are from Assam, right?
Yeah, I'm from Assam, so I do make understand Bengali. Okay. So, day before yesterday, when Diganta had an introductory email to all of us, he mentioned that we could probably discuss some things like how is data science used in our industry, how is data science used in our organization, and the future of data science in our industry. So I come from a high-frequency trading firm where all the trading decisions are then done by machines on their own on the basis of rules. The rules are decided on the basis of historical data. So I don't know, without data science, there's nothing in our industry actually. So our industry is entirely, totally data science. So a few years back, there was a firm called Virtu, which became the first high-frequency trading firm to go public, and then that caused a lot of interest about this industry. So they mentioned that they had 0 loss-making days in 4.5 years of operation. So there is a lot of curiosity about this industry. And today, given the opportunity that you had given, so let me talk a little bit about how we use data in our industry. So I believe Mr. Sankarshan Banerjee and the CTO of BSE are also part of this event today. So they would probably be able to give even more finer details. So for example, where do I start? So the complexities are in terms of management, in terms of trading operations, in terms of designing a trading strategy, in terms of checking if the operation is going smoothly, because if something goes wrong, you are competing against thousands of people who are trying to latch on to your every single mistake. A firm called Knight Capital had a small bug in their trading strategy. In 45 minutes, they lost 460 million US dollars. And the kind of complexity that we do, we could blow up very soon. So the challenges are in not just in designing trading strategy, but even in monitoring our strategies. How do you figure out the kind of profitability that we are having versus the profitability that is optimal? How do you figure out whether the trader who is making a certain profit, is the profit attributable to market conditions? Is the profit attributable to the efforts of the trader? All those decisions you cannot take subjectively. Everything that we do in our organization, we try to do that using data. So let me throw a few questions and then see how we solve each and every one of them. Before I even throw those questions, let me talk a little bit about the complexity that we have. So every day, each of the exchanges, they send in hundreds of gigabytes of data to our servers. We have tens of servers, and each server individually sends a few million orders to the exchanges. Each server does a few tens of thousands of trades every day. And we provide liquidity. We are the market makers in a few thousand derivatives. So basically, we provide continuous buy and sell prices in a few thousand derivatives throughout the day, which means we have to price all those derivatives throughout continually, and then not be pricing wrongly. And then the moment we get hit, we need to do all those calculations about how do we manage our risks and so on. What is the market scenario right now? What kind of risk can we take, and so on. So in terms of operations, the amount of data, because we are market makers, so we need to ensure that our quotes are not priced wrongly. So we are not providing a buy order at a high price. We are not providing a sell order at a low price. Now, there are events happening in the market. The price of the underlying moves up and down. You have to reprice all of those. So you need to do that extremely fast. You get hundreds of gigabytes of data in a day, and then the data comes to you at a peak flow rate of tens of GBs per second at the microburst. You have outstanding orders in thousands. You need to reprice all of those outstanding orders in thousands. So I have not even come to the data science part of it, sorry. I'm just explaining the complexity of our operations. And you cannot afford to have even a single error in your calculation, because if you have a single error, the entire marketplace will trade against you and exploit you. Okay. So the first part is building the trading strategy. Now, building the trading strategy for us involves looking at all this data from the exchanges. As I mentioned, every day the compact data from the exchange is hundreds of gigabytes. So if you are to extract information across days, then some of those traditional ways of working with data, the infrastructure doesn't work. So people use things like in-memory databases and things of that sort to be able to work with data much faster. Now, a lot of things in our industry are to do with the fact that you try to find the leading indicator, and on the basis of the leading indicator, you try to trade on the lagging data point. Now, a lot of those historical causality tests, like the Granger causality, which figures out the lead lag indicator, do not work in non-synchronous data world. The ticks that happen, there could be arriving in microseconds, nanoseconds, not truly nanoseconds, hundreds of nanoseconds, microseconds, and so on. So some of those traditional statistical methodologies do not work in our case. Now say there is a problem statement. There was a trading strategy that we were running for 5 years, and then suddenly we stopped making money in it. How do you debug that? So you need to figure out from the data that the exchange sends, you need to figure out what is the number of people who are trading a similar strategy. So there is a lot of noise in it. You need to try to figure out from the data the number of competing market makers that exist. Now, amongst market makers, if you are also making markets in a certain product, and I'm also making markets in the same product, and prices move, and then you are faster than me in changing the prices, then I as a market maker will always be hit on the wrong side. So I need to figure out amongst all the market makers, which is based on the cleansing of the data, which is a best case guess that I make, how fast are the other market makers? How fast am I? So what is my rank? How much time do I take to respond to events? How much time do others take? And then this is not an easy process because there is a lot of noise in the data. Okay. Once you have done that, you also need to keep tracking in a real-time basis the kind of trades that you're doing. So for the number of times that we wanted to trade at a certain price and then someone, so there is a lot of, the amount of, because we do such a huge volume of data on a daily basis, so the amount of data that we have to analyze is huge. For a stock like Reliance, but probably you might be doing a right trade. There are 3 types of trades that we have. For example, a extremely positive trade, a trade that just is at the fair price, a trade that an order that we wanted to change and someone hit us at the wrong price. So even the statistics across stocks vary so much. So making sense of the statistics in a logical way, and then the statistics change across stocks, the statistics change across days. Today, the statistics that is acceptable for Reliance might not be acceptable tomorrow, because tomorrow's market data might have a much more volatile scenario, in which case we are supposed to be doing well or doing bad or whatever. So even monitoring your strategies on a real-time basis, the number of good trades, number of bad trades on a daily basis. And then, for example, I mentioned we send out millions of orders per day. Now, NSE and BSE, the exchanges, they charge a huge amount of money just to be able to send out orders. So you need to, our monthly bill is in double-digit lakhs just to be able to send orders to the exchange, the huge number of orders that we send. So obviously, we need to optimize the number of orders that we send. We need to optimize, so tracking the entire order to trade, how many orders we are sending, how many trades we are doing, how many orders that we are sending per second, per instrument, per second, per machine, and all those things. So what is the performance time of our entire strategy, the 99.9th percentile score of it, how should a strategy change the moment the market behavior changes. For example, when there is a lot of activity on the exchanges, the exchange becomes clogged down with information. So the exchange's matching engine is trying to process all the orders and then send you information, respond back to you. But then when it gets a lot of information, orders, it has to process all those orders. Now our strategy has to be dynamically a function of how much load exists on the exchanges. You need to dynamically find out. So you need to track the acknowledgement time of the exchanges, and then so basically even forget about the research part of it, which is hugely complex. The research part of it involves looking at data, the way you look at data, the number of technical analysis of data, the time frame of data, that itself is huge. Some of you who trade, you know that there are so many technical indicators that you can apply on data. There are different time frames on which you can apply data. Tick data, you can club it to a few microseconds, few milliseconds, few seconds, few minutes, few hours, and so on. So the research part is complex. Not just the research part, even monitoring on a real-time basis so that you ensure that you do not lose something like Knight Capital of $460 million in 45 minutes. That also involves real-time data science, figuring out opportunities in real time. That also is complex. Now, all that is done. At the end of the day, you need to ensure that our industry is mostly about research. Now, if you are not creative enough, you will not progress. Now, how do you figure that are you being creative enough? Like I already mentioned, attributing profitability to creativity or attributing profitability to increase infrastructure costing or market behavior. So even trying to figure out we try to predict the profit that we should be making every day as a function of the volume and volatility in the market. And then if it deviates, which is hugely complex, because when you are sending an order which is the best buy order and then which is sending a sell order which is the best sell order, you do not know what is the probability of that getting filled. If you are doing a medium frequency strategy wherein you send one order, you trade, and then you sit with your position, and then you then close your position after a few days, then you can very perfectly predict the profitability. You can say that, oh, I bought a share at 100 and then the share went out to 105, so I'm expected to make 5% profit. That is very easily doable. But then, in contrast, in our case, we send a buy order at the best price, and then we send a sell order at the best price, and then you don't know what is the probability of that getting filled. So when the market conditions change, when volatilities change, the probabilities also change, and so on and so forth. So is the profitability attributable to a better management by the trader, or is it just because the market conditions have improved and probably the trader could have done even better? So those things also exist. Then even at a project level, which I believe is common to everyone. How do you track the profit? How well your firm is doing with regards to projects, human resources, productivity of employees, how fast the projects are moving, what is the complexity of projects that each people are being allocated to. Sometimes it becomes trivial. Sometimes you think that all the information only exists in complex data. You don't even need to look at complex data. Sometimes if you look at something as trivial as how much time people are spending in office every day and how it is changing with time, you can figure out where the pockets of discontentment or unhappiness exist. So how long the cigarette breaks people are taking, if you just track all of those, how many people, sometimes you don't even need to look at complex data, but then even for making all those HR decisions, how the productivity measurement of employees, which is like for most organizations, so this is not high frequency trading specific. So that is it. So I answered the first two questions. The third question, where are we progressing? So given that more and more, so traditionally the exchanges used to send out market data every once per second, once per 1/4 of a second. So when they started providing tick by tick data, now data comes in tens of nanoseconds, hundreds of nanoseconds, and flows in at that rate, and then people respond to that information, and then therefore the responses, and then there are people who respond to the responses, so the amount of data has gone up exponentially. Now, the amount of data has gone up exponentially, and traditional strategies, the simple strategies don't work. So things like machine learning, wherein we try to even figure out the features themselves, deep learning, etc., those would be the future. There are things that I'm again taking things back, making it simplistic. For example, traditionally the way we were doing it, people would make hypotheses and then we would then statistically try to validate the hypothesis. Now making a hypothesis would involve someone who is an expert, the creativity of that person, but the dreamer, so as to say. Now, that's a constraint. So good data visualization, which aids in making all those, what do you call, the dreams, the asking the questions, making the, so that could be another point. So I think at this point I will now give the mic to Ujjyaini for her perspectives.
Okay, thank you, Rajiv. So last but most interesting, Ujjyaini Mitra from Viacom 18 Media. Hopefully she will be able to provide us with a broader perspective because she has worked outside the traditional financial industries. So Ujjyaini.
Thank you so much, Diganta. And first I will just start that this is a very special moment because being on the same dais with my own teacher is very special. I think, this is a very special moment for me because Diganta actually taught me finance. I will start with a joke because I come from a media and I am here to entertain people. So media exists because we want to entertain people. So one of the good data science use that we are doing is in terms of dubbing and creating the subtitle of the contents, right? So today we are able to watch any language content if there is a subtitle in my own language. Couple of years, not couple, I think 4 or 5 years back there was a movie Ravana which was made in Telugu and then it was actually recreated. It was not dubbed but it was recreated in Hindi and there was a song called Behne De Mujhe Behne De. When someone actually was watching it in English subtitle, it came out, give sister, give me your sister. Now, as a data scientist, my job is to make sure that such kind of blunder doesn't happen. Okay, so because not always we can remake all the movies in all the languages or not similarly all the programs in all languages, but how can we create the subtitle where the natural language can be processed, context of the language understood, and then the translation or the transcriptions are actually created. So this is, one of the example, and why I'm still calling it's a finance problem, because earlier there used to be dubbing studios where specifically manually all the movies or all the programs in different languages used to get dubbed or, created the subtitle. But today, given, there is an good advancement of NLP and our understanding of those natural languages, I won't say it's 100% there, and as clearly, English is still easy to understand by NLP because there are a lot more such data is available, but in our Indian languages, it's very different. Even dialects are different. And the challenge is the same word we probably use in so many different meanings. Therefore, understanding the context is more important. So today we do more in a hybrid manner where machine does the first level of translation, transcription, and create the first layer, and there still is an expert, a linguist, who will quickly go through that. But if earlier it used to take for every movie few days to do the transcription, today it probably just takes few hours because the starting level of work is already done by the machines. I will want to jump to one of the example where actually in Viacom 18, our finance team has become very interested to use that use case. How many of you watch Big Boss, or at least have heard of Big Boss as a program? Okay, so many of you. Now, what happens is there are almost hundreds and thousands of participants who put their videos and submit their videos because they want to become the participants in that Big Boss whole process, whole program. We choose some of those people, probably start with 20 people, and over the time, those number of people goes down. There is a public voting that's involved there, and based on that, the elimination and the evictions happen. Earlier, it used to happen that we used to only take the celebrities, but over the time, we have started experimenting of the more public figure and make them a mini celebrities. So the way the payment happens for those places, or the way actually we tell them that this is how you will get paid, it actually has multiple variability into it. One part is fixed, that this much, whatever time you get eliminated, you will get paid. But then the next part is related to how many days you can stay and don't get eliminated in the Big Boss house. If you want, actually, you can go to Lonavala, the Big Boss house is there, and you can actually watch the shooting that's happening there. What we have started using is, we have started predicting based on different data points, whether it is the way people are consuming those videos, or because today we have a digital platform, so millions and millions people come and watch the Big Boss contents. So I know which kind of characters people are more interested in and which kind of characters they are not watching much. Because I can actually break down videos by frames, figure out the characters who are present there, and then I can figure out which section of these videos most people are watching, create heat map, and figure out which characters are really favorite to the public. There also happens the voting data. Of course, voting data is confidential. We don't get to have that voting data at the starting unless the eviction happen. But we can always go to the social media and figure out how many people are actually following these candidates, how many fans they have, how many people react if these fans post certain videos or photos. Based on that, we can almost predict beforehand that what will be the probability that this person is going to stick in the Big Boss house until this time. And this is the way we can way ahead before our finance and commercial team can go and bargain with them and put forward their pay details. We can ideally tell them that this character can actually stay in the Big Boss house this many days. The equilibrium reaches when I have told them that if you can stick until 8th episode, it's best, and the person actually sticks until the 8th episode. The challenge is if they get eliminated before that, I still need to pay him or her until the 8th episode. So where can I actually create that equilibrium based on all the different data that I have and actually predict way before my finance team can go and actually create that kind of payment details. One more thing, there are the episodes, like the drama series that happens on TV. Unlike other countries, in our country, those drama series at least goes for 200 to 400 episodes, because generally it runs by 1.5 years. And the artists who are acting in that, they get paid based on the episodes, the number of episodes they are there, and the kind of number of dialogues that they are speaking. What happens is people need to really, so there will be, behind one episode, there will be a team of people who will sit and figure out that every day, every episode that is there, how many people are there, how many dialogues they have told, and therefore this is the payment check that will go to them. Today we are absolutely trying to cut down out of that, and because we have that video indexer possible, I can actually, given the video, I can immediately, if it's a 30 minutes video, within almost 10 to 15 minutes, I can break it down. I have very clear understanding who all characters are present in that episode, how many minutes they are present out of those 22 to 23 minutes, how many dialogue they have said, whether the character is in the focus or actually is a background character. I can create all those details, and within a fraction of seconds, how much the payment should be done to these characters will be just ready. So these are the ways, the finance team. So there are n number of other uses in the media that we are doing, but because, here the focus is more on finance, I just wanted to tell you, at least even in media, which is very unconventional compared to any financial institutes, but data science is actually getting heavily used in helping those finance team also. How much time do I have? I can move to 3 more minutes? Okay. Because I have 3 more minutes and I promised Diganta that I can actually go back to my McKinsey days because that's where I started my career. I can go back to my McKinsey days and couple of very nice, use cases that I worked on some of the clients. So one of the client use case that we worked was, where should I ideally open my branches? Now this is very different than the trading kind of things. This is more retail banking. So it is not just where should I create that, how many square foot area that branch should have, because that depends on, it's lots of macroeconomic analysis that one can do and actually tell how many footfall that branch can have, and also what is the volatility of that footfall. Like actually hour by hour, based on different days, different month, it can predict that how many people actually going to come there, and therefore how big that center should be. And also like how many manpower do you require? Do you require what kind of, how many trailers you require? So that kind of work also happens. It actually helps finance organization because you might find there are n number of branch of a same bank, but not all branches are equally appreciated, not all branches are equally flogged by the people. There are some branch that we really love, but there are some branch which doesn't do enough business, but you are paying the lease for that area. So can you ideally figure out where exactly you should open? For the metro cities, the answer could be much simpler because you have to open so many. The challenge comes when you are going to a tier 2, tier 3 towns. There having the business beneficial is most important. Therefore, the visibility of your branch, where exactly people are going to come, how commute they can do, all those stuffs become so interesting. And another use case was on the ATM side. So we have the ATM machines. How much money should I ideally load? And this was not done, this was actually done for one of the Indian bank. What they said that they generally used to put, looking at how much money has got withdrawn, they have taken some average and have an understanding how much they should put. But they have found that there are days when money get actually, completely exhausted from those ATM, and people are still coming, and a lot more people are walking out of that. They are actually getting the money from another ATM which is just beside that, and they are paying lots of commission to the other bank, because if I have a HDFC ATM card but withdrawing to another bank, my HDFC actually pays for that. So how can they reduce that and ideally figure out for every day when the people are going and loading cash to those ATMs, exactly how much cash they would require. And also they wanted to figure out that it should not be too much. Like I do not, if 100 lakhs are really required to put there, I do not want to suddenly put 150 lakh, because that excess money that is there, it also has its own risk, because that money is not getting rotated, and therefore it is not ideally giving me the monetization of that. So I do not want too much to keep, I do not want too less to keep, but what is the optimal amount so that people don't walk out, and I also I don't have too much excess keeping there. So that was one of the good use case that we did. And before these things, I think I didn't know that finance has such beautiful use cases where they can get benefited, but yes, so those are the places.
Thank you, Ujjyaini. So I have been enjoying the 3 presentations immensely. I hope you have also been enjoying. So I would now like to throw this open to the audience for questions, comments, or some feedback. Yeah, please.
Sure. So I have a question for and a suggestion for Ujjyaini. So you were talking about Big Boss, and it's widely viewed serial as well. So is there I mean, it's just a suggestion that can you incorporate as a team member some anchors as well? I mean, the person who is asking you this question, or maybe from the media industry, is it possible for that?
I didn't get you. What do you mean by anchor?
I mean,
he's talking about himself.
Can I be a participant? Big Boss के घर में हम जा सकते हैं क्या? हाँ.
आप Big Boss के घर में नहीं जा सकते हो, but there are areas where you can actually sit and watch the shooting. But if you are a participant, yes, you can go to the Big Boss house.
And one question I have: Big Boss की आवाज में कौन बात करता है? Actually, this is something which everyone wants to understand. The nation wants to know. Maybe. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.